Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Supercoach Insider podcast. My name is Swizz, continuing on my Supercoach BBL team discussion series. Before I jump into that today, as always, check us out on all our social media platforms, in particular YouTube, Spotify, and get in contact with us via X, Supercoach Insider 100, or Swizz26 for me directly. Melbourne Renegades is up today. Very important team. They've got the double in round 1, double in round 4. They do have a bye in round 3. So a lot of people are looking at starting 3, 4, 5 Renegades players. I think definitely got to consider potentially up to 4. And the fact that they do have the bye, you can look at potentially trading 2 of them out to bring in strikers and scorchers for round 2. And then after they've completed their bye, maybe looking at getting 1 or 2 of those players back in, or a couple other different players back in for their double in round 4. And they aren't a bad team to have on the run home with 2 games against the Stars and the Hobart Hurricanes in round 8. They do play down Geelong in round 1. In previous years, we've had some weather issues down there, but it currently looks like it's going to be a beautiful day for that match. So anything can change being Victoria, but I've got a little bit more confidence than I've had in previous years. All right, starting off up the top of the order, Jake Fraser-McGurk recently started playing for Australia, 44% of teams. In the recent Pakistan series, he scored 18, 20, 9, 7, 13, and 16. Unfortunately, probably didn't score as many runs as he'd like, but we know how destructive he can be at the top of the order. Those owners of him last year definitely found value with his performances. He's a very good outfielder as well. Later in the season, I know he took a couple of good catches there, so you can potentially look at getting some scores from that mode as well. But yeah, his biggest thing is how quickly he gets his runs. If he can score over 20, we know the difference. He's differential between his batting and his balls faced. Can definitely grow. So, yeah, if he probably scores a 30, if it potentially is off 15 balls, he gets the 30 runs that he scores plus the 15-run bonus, ball bonus there. So that would score him a 45. So that's why he's a very popular choice. I prefer actually his partner at the moment. He's in 15% of teams, Josh Brown. Didn't have the best T10 series, but in today's game against the Melbourne Stars, he did score 85 off 48 balls, 12 fours, 3 sixes in that. Another player who can be very destructive at the top of the order, so it's going to be interesting to watch how those two go together. And with the new flex position, definitely can take a risk with either. So it'd be interesting to see sort of who does go better over those first couple of weeks. But if I'm going one, I'm actually slightly leaning to Brown at the moment, but I don't think either are going to be a wrong choice. But yeah, that innings today where, Fraser-McGurk, another 16 off 8, but just seems to not be able to get to that 20 benchmark at the moment where, Josh Brown has got going today, so he probably is in front for me. Where the other person up in the top order, and he scored a very nice 30 or 15 balls, was Tim, I think it's Seifert. He's from New Zealand. Did make 102 recently against Central Districts in the New Zealand competition over there. He will come in as their wicketkeeper batsman, so looking forward to see how he goes. Probably outside of Josh Inglis seems to be the best keeper option at the moment. He's only in 10% of teams, but I can see that growing. Probably the expense of him, 152k. The good thing is if you aren't starting Inglis, it's very easy to go sign for 2 Inglis from that round 1 to round 2 trade. Or if you are going to start Inglis, again, he's option 2 trade out because we do need to look at players who we are trading, and just because of his extra expense to start off with, if he does at least stay up around that price, it'd be easier to trade him to even potentially if a Hardy was fit or one of the other Scorchers bowlers, for example. We'll leave Laurie Evans. John Wells, well, Laurie Evans has moved over from Perth, but I don't think he's probably as relevant there. John Wells, I think it's probably going to be Mackenzie Harvey now. Wells didn't bat, and Mackenzie Harvey made a very nice 44 of 28 today, so wouldn't be surprised if that's the way they go. Hassan Khan is somebody I'm very interested in. 4% of teams. Recently in the Global League, made 27 and 23 not out and took 1 for 18 and 2 for 31. Only made the 1 today, but was more impressive with the ball in hand, taking 2 for 18 off his 3. So somebody that he has been in my side is in the batting positions at the moment, is that loophole player between bat and ball. So it's I don't think he's going to leave my side starting over. Something would have to dramatically change, but potentially Sutherland could bat higher than him. Then I've got on that list. In today's game, it was Khan did come in slightly ahead of Sutherland, so hopefully that for owners stays the same. But yeah, that's definitely somebody I am looking at. Sutherland is currently in 31% of teams. I was a bit surprised with that just because of these coming back from injury. He batted at 7th spot today, made 1 not out. Did actually bowl, which is a good sign. Bowled 2 overs, none for 10. So that's kind of what we want to see. I'm more considering targeting Sutherland for that round 4 game after he gets a few overs under the belt. Not the worst start at 132k, but I would be probably looking elsewhere just because I think there's a couple other better options to start off with. But until he did that injury, he was very locked into my side. So I do like him as a pick, but just not to start off with. I think I'd want him as we're coming on that run home from rounds 4 to 9. Tom Rogers, definitely been under a lot of discussion with a lot of podcast people recently. I think he may have even been in the podcast consensus team. He's had some good performances for Tassie recently in first class cricket. Made 38 and took 1 for 59 in the one-day game recently. His form over in England was okay. But yeah, 117k, like he definitely valued compared to the previous season where I think he started about 180. So yeah, you're kind of getting rid of a cheaper option, but it depends on how many sort of these bowlers you want to go because it does seem like the Stars players, it's more batsmen in Webster and your Currans are that who have bat bowl, so you can put them in the batting, where for the Renegades, it's the bowlers that are of more appeal, but it's how many can start. The guy that I've really liked is Fergus O'Neill. He's currently in 15% of teams. His first class form has been off the charts. Even in his couple recent games, he took 5 for 51, 4 for 22, 3 for 43, and 3 for 56. No, obviously that's with the red ball, but it has looked very good in there. In today's game, he took 1 for 27. Tom Rogers took 2 for 23. So you definitely could look at both. I've definitely had O'Neill in pretty well from the start at that 107 price. But yeah, there's a world definitely you can look at trying to get both in if that's the way you want to go. Kane Richardson also played today, none for 27 off his 4. Yeah, obviously the age is a bit more of a worry. People are thinking, could they rotate maybe a Sandhu in who took 1 for 16 today? Does Richardson play every game? Does he travel? There are some questions there. I do get the appeal at that 97,000 starting price, 16% of teams. But yeah, I probably prefer paying up a little bit more and getting Rogers and O'Neill, especially if Sutherland's going to be bowling, because in sort of today, so you've got O'Neill, Rogers, Richardson, Sandhu, Khan, and Sutherland sharing those overs. I'm not actually, I need to get a bit more information about Stow, but also bowled 3 overs there. So they've got, they do have some bowling options. And it would be interesting to see if they kind of rotate Sandhu and Richardson through the games, or you never know if somebody else gets an injury. But the fact that, yeah, Sutherland will definitely probably roll the arm over for at least 1 or 2 overs in those early games, yeah, will make it kind of interesting who they go in with each week. So a bit of a recap there. I think if you want a wicket keeper, Seinfeld's a good choice. If you want to bat, Fraser McGurk or Brown, or you can start Khan in that batting spot. All decent choices there. Will Sutherland, I would hold off until round 4 as a personal choice, and then look at Rogers, O'Neill, and Zampa. I think Zampa only in 50% of teams, and I didn't even talk about him there, just because he should be just a lock. In the recent series against Pakistan, 2 for 11, 2 for 19, and 2 for 11. Like, how is this guy at 80k not in more teams? We know he's going to bowl, but he's 3 or 4 overs. He's just he's just class at this sort of level, and that, okay, he's not going to offer a lot with the bat, but what we want is with the ball. And it's just the fact that if he was probably 120k, 130k, be a different story, but 80k, he's double what the basement rookies are for a guy who's a world class spinner. So yeah, I'd definitely have Zampa as one of your 4. And then, look at at least one of those batsmen and maybe 2 of the other bowlers. hopefully that helps, guys. We'll move on to the Melbourne Stars next as we continue this team discussion series. Catch you later.